Hey guys, how's it going? It's Arit here. I wanted to share with you how I put my album cover together for Masterpiece because I've been getting a lot of comments from you guys saying the album art is killer and you guys are loving it. I really can't take all the credit for it, but I will share with you how I put this together, and you don't need a crazy budget. You don't need to go out and get an expensive photo shoot done or anything like that. You just need to know how to get around these things creatively. So I'm going to share with you what I did. So just to give you some backstory, I released my Masterpiece single in November 2019, and I had to submit it for release, like for distribution through CD Baby, and I wanted to make sure that there was enough time, so I did it quite early. But I also knew, I really wanted to do everything perfect for this release, so I was planning on doing an expensive photo shoot and all that kind of stuff, but it didn't pan out, and I knew that because I was looking for the right, not only photographer, but also someone who's really good in Photoshop to kind of do what I had envisioned for the album cover. And it was taking me a while, and I wasn't satisfied with what I found. So I actually ended up going an entirely different route and started just kind of searching for images to get an idea of, like, to put a vision board together almost, and to get an idea of what I wanted, like the album cover in terms of emotion and that kind of thing. So anyways, long story short, I went to a site called Pixabay.com. Pixabay is a site where you can download royalty-free images for use. And most of them are, you can use them like for commercial use or for personal use, but you got to read the side. So what I'll show you here is the website is pixabay.com. So when you come in here, the thing that I first recommend doing is typing in the name of your song. You might not get anything, but just try it out. Just try it out as a first stab at it. So that's what I did. I typed in Masterpiece, and what I found was nothing really that I wanted to use, right? It's like a whole bunch of Renaissance stuff, which I didn't want to use for the album cover. And although these are known as Masterpiece, it's not exactly what I had envisioned. For me, I had envisioned something epic, something nostalgic, something like that elicits certain emotions or makes you think, that kind of thing. So from this sprung about those kinds of ideas, because I was looking at these saying, no, this isn't what I want. And then I asked myself, well, what do I want? So I scrolled back up here and I just wrote out epic, and I found these images, and I'm like, okay, this is getting closer. This is kind of the feel that I was going for. And I realized, even though this wasn't a picture that I wanted to use, I clicked into it to see what are the related keywords. So I discovered, okay, fighter, landscape, that's not what I want. Maybe fantasy, maybe mystical. So that's kind of the breadcrumbs path of how I stumbled upon the image that I wanted to use. And I recommend you do the same, because if you just go out here, try to look for something very specific, you might not find it right away. Pixabay doesn't, it's not like Shutterstock where they have like absolutely every photo. It's very specific, and that's why they're royalty free, right? You're not going to find everything you want. What is important though is to look on the side here to make sure that the Pixabay license says free for commercial use, no attribution required, because that means you can literally just download this image and use it for your album cover. So, clicking into those things, I decided to look into fantasy, so I clicked on that keyword to see what else came up, and this was starting to get closer and closer to what I wanted for Masterpiece. So I was scrolling through these things, and I started to notice that I really liked a specific style, and when I clicked into it, it says Calpix. This is the author. This is the person who designed this image, and this is huge shout out to Stefan Keller. He is the one who actually provided me with this image that I'm going to show you right now. if I remove this, this was the original image, obviously without the text. That was the original image that Stefan had designed, and it was perfect. When I looked at this, I felt like I was looking at a masterpiece. So that's how I kind of came about finding the right image, and you can do the exact same thing. It's free, guys. It's a free download for such amazing pics. I mean, I'm not saying go into the fantasy world and that kind of thing. You obviously find the image that depicts the right emotion for your song. And think of it in that term, like what is the emotion of my song? What sort of images elicit that emotion? Because that's really what's going to make a good album cover. And then once you do find something you really like, reach out to the author. I didn't just download and ran with it. Like, I wanted to give him money because I was so grateful that I found something. So there's actually a button here where you can donate directly to the author, so, or the designer. So it goes straight to like a donation PayPal page. So I donated, I think it was like 30 or 50 bucks or something like that. I gave him just to show my gratitude, right? Because he's putting this stuff out there for completely free, but I wanted to donate and saying thank you. So you can do the exact same, guys. And you know how I ended up adding my own picture on top of it really came from fan feedback. So what you can do is you can take that image, because the image is the main thing. It's the main staple that you're trying to look for to represent your song or your album. So everything kind of revolves around that image, and I created different versions of the album cover with that image to see what would be best. Like, the image alone is just amazing. So I had a version, a standalone version, just with that, with my name, like you see on here, my name and the name of the single, and that's all. But then I also created a version of me, this is in Photoshop, by the way, but you don't need to have crazy Photoshop skills. And then I created a second version with me on the album cover. So what I did was created multiple versions, and then I went on Facebook and on Instagram too, and I posted a bunch of different versions of my album cover, and I asked for feedback. You can see here, feedback requests for my album cover. Give clear instructions to your fans. Tell them what to do. So I specifically said what I'm looking for. Feedback, would love to hear your opinion. And type 1, 2, or 3 in the comments, and I described which is which. So I had this version, which is the plain one. I had this one, which I created masterpiece. So I originally had envisioned like a whole puzzle sort of theme, like a cool puzzle thing to it. So I put this in here. It was the least favorite, so nobody really liked that one. And then I had a version with me on it. And you can see here, all I did was just layer the image that I had of me and just kind of reduced or made it more transparent. So I reduced the opacity of the image so that it kind of blends into the background image. So most people liked the one with me on it. However, they were saying that it kind of looks a little, some of them were saying looks a little too busy. So that's why I ended up coming back here into Photoshop and removing the background and just having me on it without this box piece that you see here. So that's how the entire image came about. It started off with, thank you, Stefan. It started off with me stumbling upon Stefan's work, amazing images, and that kind of was sort of the jumping board. Is that a diving board? Springboard. That was the springboard that led me towards creating these other versions, and then I asked for feedback, and this is what we came up with. So make it like a collaborative effort with your fans too. Post on your Instagram, your Facebook, get feedback, because it's kind of like they're invested too in it. When your single or your album comes out, they kind of contributed a piece to that, so they're going to be even more excited that you ask them to provide feedback on your album cover. So I hope this was helpful for you. Again, you don't need a photo shoot. Like, you can literally have a version without you in it at all. Just put your name, the name of your album on it, and work with that. You can create like crazy shapes on it. You can create like a triangle, square. Get creative with it. You know, whatever your limitations are with budget or resources or whatever it is, there's always a way. Just remember that. It's always, everything is figure outable, as Marie Forleo would say. So guys, let me know what you think of this. Is it doable for you? Do you have any questions on it? Please leave me a comment down below and thumbs up this video if you found it helpful. Make sure you also subscribe to the channel, because in addition to me working, creating, doing my music, I'm also just sharing my knowledge on what's been working for me on my music artist journey. So stay tuned. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. And by the way, if you do find an image or you need some sort of help to do with Photoshop, that maybe it's something similar to what I did, where you need a photo of you with the background removed and kind of the transparency adjusted, or maybe it's something else entirely. You want me to add shapes or text or anything to the image that you found, just hit me up. I have, I'm going to put my email address in the description below. I have designed album covers for other artists. I've done lots of graphic design in general. So I am a digital media designer as well. So please hit me up and I'll definitely, I'm happy to help.